Have you ever imagined what it felt like to drift down the Nile, when the gods still whispered to the living and stone temples gleamed with starlight? Close your eyes. Let your breath grow still. The night has opened its quiet door. Step softly into a dream of ancient Egypt. Your boat rocks gently in the current, the wood beneath you warm from a day of sun, now cooling under a velvet sky. The Nile stretches like a ribbon of ink, gliding silently past reeds and shadowed palms. Above you, the stars shimmer, scattered like gold dust across the heavens. The Egyptians called the sky Nut, a great celestial goddess who arched her back over the world, her body covered in stars. She swallowed the sun each night and gave birth to it each dawn. Tonight, she watches over you too. The air smells of river silt and crushed lotus. Somewhere on shore, a frog chirps once, then falls silent. The only sounds are the hush of water against the boat's hull and the soft creak of ropes shifting in their knots. You pass fishermen asleep on the banks, their nets bundled like pillows, dreams wound tightly around them. Beyond them, the silhouettes of papyrus thickets sway in the faint breeze. Their rustling sounds like whispers, as if the plants themselves are remembering something. On the horizon, a temple rises. Its pylons loom in the distance, half silhouetted against the deep blue of night. This is Komombo, a rare twin temple built for two gods. To one side, Horus, the falcon-headed protector. To the other, Sobek, the crocodile, lord of waters and hidden strength. The temple is empty now. Its priests are long gone, but the carvings still hold their breath. 1,000 stories sleep in the stone, waiting for moonlight to wake them. As your boat drifts closer, the torch niches glow faintly with memory, as if someone just passed through, carrying fire and incense in quiet ceremony. You step ashore. The stone under your feet still holds the sun's warmth. Its texture is worn smooth by generations of barefoot pilgrims. You walk slowly, following a shallow channel where sacred crocodiles once basked, eyes like polished amber, unmoving and ancient. Inside the sanctuary, it is cool. The air smells of dust, myrrh and age. A breeze moves gently through the temple, stirring cobwebs that catch the light like silver threads. You place your palm on a carved wall. It fits perfectly into the indent left by countless hands before yours. You are not alone. Not really. The ancients knew how to build for memory. On the ceiling, faint remnants of blue and gold still cling, painted stars in the shape of Sar, the constellation we call Orion. To the Egyptians, these stars marked the soul of Osiris, god of rebirth and the afterlife. They believed in many souls, one that stayed with the body, one that flew like a bird, and one that could live on in names and stories. You speak softly now, perhaps without realizing it. Words float up and vanish into the shadows above. A shallow pool reflects the ceiling, the stars above, and their mirrored twins below. As above, so below. You sit by the water's edge. The stone is cool, and its stillness seeps into your bones. You close your eyes. In the distance, the call of an ibis drifts across the water. It sounds like a question, or maybe a farewell. Your boat is waiting. You step aboard. The wood creaks once beneath you. A familiar sound, like a yawn from something very old, very patient. The Nile welcomes you back. Its current takes you gently onward, and the temple slips slowly behind, its shadows folding into the dark like a dream that ends, but isn't quite finished. The Nile carries you onward. The current is slow, unhurried. like the breathing of something ancient and kind. You lean against the edge of the boat. The wood is smooth and warm, worn down by sun, water, and the passing of centuries. Above, the moon rides high, its reflection dancing across the surface of the river in broken, shimmering fragments. It is quiet, but not empty. The darkness here is filled with presence, the kind that doesn't speak, but listens. You drift toward the shoreline once more, where torchlight flickers in the distance. A row of columns rise into view, tall and carved like tree trunks, their tops shaped like open lotus flowers. This is a temple, though no one walks here now. It once rang with chants and sandals and the crackling of oil lamps. Now it waits, still and full of breath. You step gently ashore. The entrance is guarded by two statues, seated and serene. One wears the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. The other holds a scroll across its knees. They watch you, not as intruders are watched, but as dreams are watched, with patience, with softness. You pass between them. Inside, the air is cooler. It smells of old limestone and burned cedar. Dust floats in beams of moonlight like sleeping spirits. You move through them slowly, each step a whisper. To your left, a wall of carvings unfolds. Gods with falcon heads, queens with crowns of cobras, priests offering bread and wine to eternal beings. Each figure is frozen mid-movement, caught in some ceremony that never ends. This is how the Egyptians made memory live, not with paper or speech, but with symbols carved deep into stone. They believed to name a thing was to keep it alive, and so they named everything: sky, water, wind, love, pain, triumph, even sleep. You walk through a long corridor. Its walls close in slightly, guiding you deeper. The torches here are long extinguished, but the stars above pour silver light through a series of small, square openings in the ceiling. They align perfectly with the stars. You stop beneath one beam of light and lift your hand. The light rests in your palm for a moment, cool and weightless. The ancient architects knew where every constellation would fall. Their buildings were poems made of shadow and geometry. Every chamber had a purpose, every doorway a direction, every silence a meaning. You enter a hall lined with columns. They rise like stone trees, each painted long ago in ochre, lapis, and gold. The paint is faded now, but traces remain. You reach out and brush your fingertips across one column. The dust clings lightly, as if reluctant to let go. You close your eyes, and for a moment, the column breathes. You see the workers who carved it, dressed in linen, covered in sweat and dust, chanting softly as they worked. One leans back, smiles, and wipes his brow. He is gone, but his work remains. At the center of the temple stands a sacred chamber. It is dark. The shadows are thick and gentle, but in the very heart of it, a single shaft of moonlight illuminates a raised platform. It is the naos, where once the statue of a god rested. You approach slowly. The platform is empty now, but somehow it still feels occupied. You bow your head, not in fear, but in acknowledgement, in gratitude. Not all presences are seen. Outside the temple, a breeze moves through the palm trees. You step back into it. The air is sweet again, soft with water and fruit. Somewhere nearby, a bird chirps once, then falls silent. You look back at the structure. Its pillars rise against the sky like ribs, as if the whole building were breathing. You feel the pulse of it. Not fast, not loud, just eternal. You return to the boat. The Nile embraces you like an old friend. You lie back against the deck and look up once more. The stars are everywhere now, thick as sand, bright as memory. One of them shoots silently across the sky and disappears behind the temple roof. You don't make a wish. You simply watch it go. And then you drift on. The Nile glides on, and so do you. The boat leans slightly as it draws close to the shore again. Not to a temple this time, but to a city. This is Thebes, a place once called Wasit, and long ago, the beating heart of Egypt. By day, it is grand, full of courts and markets, gardens and chants. But now, it sleeps, and in its dreaming, you are welcome. Your feet find stone as you disembark, and you follow a narrow lane between low white buildings. The walls are sun-bleached and warm to the touch, but under the night sky, they glow faintly, softly lit by torches in clay sconces. A breeze moves through the streets like a memory. A dog dozes at the edge of a courtyard, its ears twitching with dreams. Far above, on the flat roof of a home, you glimpse a woman sleeping beneath a canopy, cradled in linen, her arm draped softly over a small clay bowl. The Egyptians slept on their rooftops in summer. They trusted the sky to watch over them, and it always did. You pass a potter's stall. It is closed now, but rows of fresh clay vessels still line the shelves. Bowls and jugs and tiny amphorae, each etched with delicate spiraling marks. Beside them rests a small wooden box, marked with a carved ankh, the symbol of life. Even in sleep, this city remembers its purpose. Down the next street, a scribe sits cross-legged on a low stool. He is old, with skin like papyrus and eyes the color of bronze. His inkpot glints under lantern light. He writes slowly, carefully, his brush whispering across the surface of an open scroll. You pause, watching him work. He doesn't look up. He doesn't need to. He knows you're there. He is copying the instruction of Ptah-hotep, a scroll of wisdom passed down through the centuries. Be kind to the one who stumbles, he murmurs softly, for the road is never easy. The words linger, and then float away. He dips his brush again, and the ink blooms like dark water. You move on. The streets open into a small market square. Though empty of people, it hums with gentle stillness. The stalls are draped with fabrics, folded linen, rolls of dyed flax and hanging strips of indigo cloth. They flutter slightly in the night air. A small oil lamp rests beside a pile of dates. Its wick has burned out, but the scent of honey and resin still lingers. You hear soft music, not nearby, but just far enough to make you wonder if it's real. A single harp, plucking out a tune older than memory. You follow the sound. It leads you to a garden, tucked between walls, shaded by palms, with a stone basin in the center, full of dark water. A man plays in the corner, eyes closed. He doesn't stop when you enter. He doesn't need to. You are not here to disturb, only to witness. The tune shifts, slow, rippling like the Nile. You sit on a low bench. The stone is cool. Time moves strangely here. It does not tick, it breathes. Each moment expands, opens, then falls gently into the next. A cat curls around your ankles. Its fur is smooth, its purring deep and even. In Egypt, cats were sacred, symbols of protection, graceful guardians of the home. This one stays beside you, watching the harpist with calm, half-lidded eyes. The music ends. You rise. The cat slips away into the shadows. You walk again through narrow alleys toward the edges of the city. The sky is beginning to shift. Not yet dawn, but the stars have rearranged themselves slightly, as if preparing to say goodbye. You step through an archway, and the city releases you gently, as if exhaling. You return once more to your boat, and with the softest sound, the current catches it, and you begin again to drift. The Nile carries you onward, not far now. The banks have narrowed and the moon has lowered, its silver light pooling on the hills like poured oil. Ahead, you see a single flame flickering at the base of a sandstone cliff. Not a temple, not a tomb, not yet. This is a workshop, a place of quiet labor, of sacred preparation. You step ashore. The sand is soft, cool beneath your feet. You follow the glow through a narrow passageway cut into the rock itself. The air changes. It smells of chalk, crushed flowers, and ground copper. Inside, a man works alone. A single oil lamp burns beside him, casting light across walls brushed in pale pigment. He is a tomb painter, and though you do not speak, he nods gently at your presence. You are welcome here. The chamber is small, but its walls are filled with stories. Rows of figures walk in profile, men bearing offerings, gods with sun discs, lions and jackals moving between sacred trees. Every line is delicate, purposeful. Nothing here is rushed. This is not decoration. This is a conversation with eternity. The painter sits cross-legged, mixing colour on a flat stone palette. Blue from crushed lapis, red from ochre, green from malachite and river clay. Each pigment is sacred. Each hue has meaning. To paint Osiris in the wrong colour is to confuse the afterlife itself. He dips a reed brush into water, then into the powder, and finally onto the wall. The sound is soft, a whisper of bristle against stone. He paints a single eye, outlined in black coal, shaped like a falcon's, the eye of Horus, a symbol of protection, of healing, of the soul's unbroken journey. The Egyptians believed an image, once painted, was real in the world of spirits. This tomb is not a place of death. It is a place of transformation, a cocoon, wrapped in mineral and symbol, preparing the soul for the great crossing. You sit in the corner, watching. The man does not hurry. Each movement flows like water poured from a jar. He hums occasionally. Not a tune, just a tone, low, warm, steady. It seems to steady the brush. Outside, the desert wind sighs gently at the entrance, but inside everything is still. He pauses, lifts a small stone jar, removes the lid. Inside is gold leaf, thin as ash. He applies it carefully to a crown, the final touch on the head of a goddess. It clings to the paint like breath to glass. The room shimmers slightly. You close your eyes for a moment. Behind your lids, you still see the colours, the deep blues, the dry reds, the gleam of gold. You feel the peace of the painter, a peace not from silence, but from doing something that matters. When you open your eyes again, he is still there, still painting, but the lamp is lower, and outside, the stars have shifted once more. It is time. You rise. He does not look up, but again, he nods. And that is enough. You step into the desert wind. It is cooler now. The cliffs rise around you like the spines of sleeping giants. You return to your boat. It rocks gently in greeting. The painter's light disappears behind a curve in the stone, and the Nile embraces you once more. The Nile has curved away behind you now. Its voice still lingers in your ears, the hush of its rhythm, the gentle pull of its current. But now you are entering a place where even the river dares not flow, a place of silence, of deep rest, of unbroken time. Ahead, the landscape changes. Gone are the reeds and palms, the smooth gardens and painted columns. Now there is only stone, stone and sky, and the long sleep of kings. This is the Valley of the Kings, set deep in the desert cliffs beyond Thebes, a place where pharaohs were laid to rest beneath the earth. wrapped in gold, guarded by words, carried into eternity by silence. You walk slowly along a winding path. The ground beneath your feet is pale and dry, crushed limestone that glows slightly in the moonlight. High cliffs rise on either side, their faces weathered like old scrolls. The stars above seem clearer here, as if the sky has come closer to listen. You pass a small shrine. Nothing grand, just a flat stone with a bowl for offerings. A few faded lotus petals rest inside. Someone has remembered. Someone always remembers. You follow the bend of the path deeper into the valley. No one else walks here. But you do not feel alone. You feel surrounded, not by bodies, but by intentions, by hands that carve stone with care, by prayers whispered in sealed chambers, by souls still drifting gently through dreams. The first tomb you reach is hidden behind a low doorway. You step inside. The air is cooler here and still, so still it almost hums. You follow a sloping corridor down into the dark. The walls are lined with color, even after all these centuries. Images of gods and boats, of stars and serpents, of the soul in flight. This was no place of fear. This was preparation, a map for the journey beyond breath. The Egyptians believed in a land beyond life, a mirror of this world, but lit by spirit. To reach it, one passed through challenges, gates, trials, questions from gods, but one was not alone. The tomb itself became the guide. Each painted wall was a chapter, each symbol a spell. They left nothing to chance. They left instructions carved in eternity. You come to the burial chamber. Its ceiling is blue, deep, like the night outside, studded with 5 pointed stars. They shimmer faintly under the light of your lamp. They are painted in gold, still brilliant. This is the sky the pharaoh saw as he slept, a sky beneath the earth, a roof made of gods. The sarcophagus lies in the center of the room, stone carved smooth, with the image of the king in quiet repose, his arms crossed, his face calm, his crown gleaming. You do not open it. There is no need. The presence is already here, not haunting, but watching, waiting, at peace. You sit beside the stone, not speaking, not thinking, just being. The silence grows deeper until even your heartbeat begins to slow. You breathe with the tomb now, with the dust, the paint, the carved prayers. You breathe with history. Time passes, or perhaps it doesn't. Eventually, you rise, step softly back into the corridor, out through the entrance. The night air greets you gently. The cliffs still glow with pale silver. You walk again along the valley floor, past other tombs, some hidden, some forgotten, some remembered only by wind. The stars above have shifted again. You stop, look up. They shine like eyes, watching, remembering. Some say the gods lived among the stars. Others say they were the stars. Either way, you feel their nearness. You bow your head, and you walk on. The valley begins to widen. The cliffs grow smaller. The sand loosens beneath your feet. And ahead, the river returns. You step into the boat once more. It rocks slightly, then settles. You lie down, not from exhaustion, but from fullness, the kind of fullness that comes from beauty and reverence and quiet things well remembered. The Nile carries you onward. Your eyes begin to close, but the journey isn't over, not yet. There is one more place to go, one more dream to dream. The river bends once more, and on the far bank, you begin to see the faint glow of firelight, not from a torch, but from many, a soft flickering like stars fallen to earth. You draw closer. This is the temple of Karnak, not in the heat of day, but in the sacred hush of night, when only shadows and starlight move between its pillars. And tonight, something stirs. A festival is underway. Not the crowded kind, not loud or wild. This is a festival of silence, of reverence. Once each year, at the height of the lunar cycle, the priests of Amun lit the sacred path with 1,000 flame bowls. They placed them one by one along the processional road, beneath the carved heads of ram statues, their horns looping like spirals of time. You step ashore. The stones beneath your feet are warm, holding the memory of centuries of feet that came before. You move through rows of firelight, where shadows dance like spirits on the sandstone walls. Each step you take is quiet, and with each step the air thickens with presence. You are not watching a ceremony, you are within it. The great columns rise like a forest, each one carved with hieroglyphs and gods, still touched with the paint of forgotten artisans. You pause at one column. It is wide, too wide to wrap your arms around. Its surface holds the face of a king, his eyes closed, his crown flanked by 2 cobras. Above him, the sun disk of Ra spreads its rays like fingers. The column is warm. You feel it hum slightly beneath your palm. In the center of the court, priests once poured water from silver vessels, libations for the gods, for the earth, for the soul. You imagine the sound, water splashing against polished stone, then falling silent. You look up. The sky overhead is open. No roof, no dome. Just stars and smoke rising together in slow spirals. You follow a corridor toward the sacred lake. It lies still, a perfect mirror of the heavens above. This was where the high priest bathed before speaking the name of a god. They believed cleanliness was not only of body, but of thought. You kneel beside the water. It smells faintly of lotus. You dip your fingers into it. It is cold, and yet it calms the body instantly. A kind of stillness that begins at the skin and then enters the bones. On the far side of the lake, you see a woman kneeling with a small flame in her hands. She sets it afloat on a dish of clay. It drifts slowly across the water, joining others. 10, 20, more. A trail of light crossing the lake like a bridge. You watch until the flames become stars again, and the stars become thought, and the thought becomes peace. As the fires die down, the people slip away, quietly, respectfully. You follow, not because you are ready, but because it is time. Your boat waits for you at the edge of the bank. You step aboard. The current resumes, and Karnak fades into the dark behind you. The Nile slows, or perhaps you do. The current is softer here, as though the river itself has begun to fall asleep. Your boat drifts toward the bank, where palm trees lean close to the water, their fronds whispering gently overhead. Each breeze sounds like a forgotten name. There is a low stone landing, and just beyond it, a garden gate. You step ashore, bare feet pressing into warm, packed earth. The gate creaks open, revealing not grandeur, but quiet. An Egyptian noble's private garden, hidden behind limestone walls, bathed in moonlight, still, green, safe. You walk slowly along a crushed sand path. On either side, palm trunks stretch upward like sentries. Their leaves catch the silver of the moon and flick it softly across the garden floor. The air smells of fig and mint. Somewhere nearby, a stream gurgles between smooth stones. The temperature has dropped just enough to brush coolness against your skin. You pause. Breathe deeply. This is not a space made to impress. It is a space made to rest. You reach a small rectangular pool at the center of the garden. Lotus blossoms drift across its surface, white and violet and soft pink. Tiny frogs perch on the edges, silent, perfectly still. The water is so still it reflects the stars. When you look down, you see constellations staring back at you. As above, so below. You dip your fingers into the surface. The ripples are barely visible, only a slow undulation that spreads outward and disappears. To one side of the pool is a low table, carved from dark wood and inlaid with ivory symbols, ankhs, spirals, reed leaves. Beside it, a clay lamp glows softly. Its flame trembles, casting a halo of golden light across a sleeping cat curled nearby. The cat stirs briefly, opens one amber eye, and, seeing you, settles again into perfect stillness. You sit. The stone beneath you is smooth, cool to the touch. You rest your hands on your knees and look upward. The sky is vast and generous. The moon is high, and the stars are arranged like scattered seeds, ready to grow something only the gods can see. A man appears, walking slowly along the garden path. He wears a white linen robe, belted at the waist with a thin cord. His beard is short, his hands open and at ease. He does not speak, but he smiles and gestures toward a second seat beside the pool. You do not know his name, but somehow you feel as if you've met before, in another garden, in another lifetime. He sits, pours cool water from a clay jar into 2 small cups. The cups are etched with lotus stems and falcons. You drink. The water is faintly sweet, and it quenches more than thirst. It touches memory. He speaks softly now, not to instruct, not to impress, only to share. He tells you that he once served in Pharaoh's court, as a steward of land, a keeper of records, a quiet man in the background of grand events. But it is not the court he remembers most. It is this garden. Here, he says, the noise of titles falls away. The weight of expectation becomes light as pollen. The gods are not louder here, but they are closer. He points to a vine growing up the garden wall. Its leaves are shaped like hearts, and its flowers open only at night. He says, even the plants know when to sleep and when to bloom. A servant approaches quietly, carrying a wooden lyre. He bows once, kneels, and begins to play. The melody is slow and open, each note allowed to breathe, to settle into the air like incense. It is not a song you recognize, and yet it feels known. It sounds like the inside of a dream. Another breeze moves through the palms. You hear the leaves rustle. You hear water move. You hear a night bird call out once, and then silence again. The nobleman rises. He walks to a low wall at the edge of the garden and looks out toward the hills beyond. You follow. The Valley of the Kings is out there, dark now, but humming softly with memory. He says, out there lie the tombs of men who rule the world. But here, he places his hand over his chest, is where the soul begins its rest. He returns to his seat. The lyre player finishes his song and slips away as quietly as he came. The garden breathes again. You lie back now, on a cushion near the edge of the pool. The stone beneath you supports your spine. The air against your skin is perfect, not too warm, not too cool. Above you, the moon begins to slide behind a cloud, but the light does not vanish, it only softens. The nobleman has closed his eyes. You close yours too. You hear footsteps once more, not hurried, but deliberate. A woman now walks the path. Her robe is embroidered with vines and stars. She carries a small clay pot, and as she walks, she sprinkles dried herbs into the brazier near the pool. The scent changes. Now you smell lavender, and crushed cedar, and a hint of something sweet and sharp, perhaps cinnamon bark or fennel. She hums softly. It is not a song. It is a tone, a vibration. It lingers long. After her voice has stopped, you open your eyes again, and the garden has changed, not visibly, but inwardly. It feels even quieter than before, more whole. You notice a small papyrus scroll beside the seat. You unroll it slowly. The ink is faint, but readable. The script is ancient, but your heart understands it. It reads, "When the body sleeps, the spirit wanders." And in gardens such as this, it is welcomed. You roll it closed again and set it gently beside the cup. The nobleman has risen once more. He bows his head to you. He walks a short distance and disappears behind a row of palms. You do not follow. Some doors are meant only for the moment. You remain a while longer. The garden is yours now, or rather, you belong to it. You listen to the breeze, to the water, to the stillness between all things. You feel your breath deepen. You feel the weight of the day dissolve. You feel the hush of sleep settling in your limbs. You are not alone. You are not thinking. You are only here, present, cradled. A bell rings softly in the distance. Not loud, not demanding, just a suggestion. It is time. You rise slowly, step barefoot across the warm stone, and back through the garden gate. The boat waits for you, its lantern glowing gently at the prow. You step aboard. The river opens before you once again. Calm, eternal, welcoming. The garden fades behind you, but it leaves something behind. A scent, a silence, a peace. You lie back on the boat deck. The sky overhead is wide and dark and endless. You do not look forward now. There is no need. You close your eyes and let the river take you. The boat slows again. The sun is still gone, but the sky has shifted, now tinged with the palest edge of light. The stars are beginning to fade, but not your dream, not yet. The Nile touches the shore with a hush, and before you rises the back wall of a temple, not a grand one, not for worship, not for offering, but for remembering. You step ashore. The stone steps are still cool. Above, the palm trees sway gently. The sound of reeds brushing one another carries through the air like whispered writing. You pass under a low arch into a hall of smooth limestone. There are no statues here, no incense, only scrolls and silence. This is the house of life. To the Egyptians, it was called Per Ankh, the house of life. A sacred chamber attached to a temple complex where the most learned men worked not with stone or metal, but with ink. Here scribes copied spells, prayers, hymns, histories, laws, poems. Knowledge, they believed, was not merely useful, it was holy. To write something down was to preserve a piece of the world. To name was to remember. The chamber smells of crushed reeds and warm dust. A scribe walks slowly between shelves, his robe brushing the floor, his sandals soft. He lifts a papyrus roll from its niche, holds it up to the morning light, and unrolls it with great care. You follow him deeper into the library. There is no rush here, no chaos, only purpose and calm. A young apprentice kneels beside a low table, preparing a fresh sheet of papyrus. He slices long, wet reeds into strips, lays them in crisscrossing rows, presses them together under a stone weight. The sheets will dry in the sun. Papyrus, the gift of the Nile, a plant that becomes memory. At another table, a scribe sharpens a reed pen. His blade is simple, but his hand is precise. He dips the pen into ink made from soot and resin, then begins to write. Not quickly, never quickly. Each character is placed with intent. each curve and angle part of a language older than any alphabet. These are not letters, these are symbols of meaning. A single glyph can hold the idea of a god, a season, a spell to protect the soul. You kneel beside him. He does not look up, but he does not mind your presence. This is not a place of distraction. It is a place of focus. On his scroll are lines from the Book of the Dead. Not a book of doom, but of guidance. A book to help the soul navigate the afterlife, with maps, with prayers, with truth. He reads aloud, quietly, I have not stolen. I have not lied. I have not caused pain. I am pure. These are called the negative confessions. 42 declarations a soul must make before the gods, not as punishment, but as reflection. The scribes did not only record them, they lived by them. To copy a spell was to whisper it to the soul. You move deeper into the chamber. The walls are painted in soft ochre and turquoise. There are niches carved into the stone, each one holding scrolls bound in linen, marked with wax seals. One is labelled with the eye of Horus, another with the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and cosmic balance. This scroll holds laws, how land was to be divided, how offerings were to be shared, how justice was to be measured. Scribes were more than writers. They were architects of order. Without them, no pyramid could rise, no priest could chant, no tomb could be prepared. They recorded the height of the Nile each year, the births and deaths of kings, the names of every official, the movements of the stars. They were memory made human. In a quiet alcove, an elder scribe sits beneath a painted ceiling. He holds no pen now, only a scroll in his lap. He reads slowly, his lips moving without sound. His eyes close between lines, not from sleep, but from reverence. You sit near him, not close enough to disturb, just close enough to listen. He begins to speak. He tells you of the origin of script, how the god Thoth, lord of wisdom and the moon, gave writing to mankind. Thoth, they believed, kept the balance of the universe. He measured time, spoke the first names, and recorded the deeds of the gods. To write, then, was to join in that divine act, not to create chaos, but to bring order from it. The elder points to the scroll in your hand. It is old, the ink is faded, but the symbols are still clear. This was copied by my father, he says, and by his teacher before him. It is over 300 years old. You trace a line of text with your finger. It reads, to speak a name is to make it live. To write it is to give it forever. You look up, and the elder is smiling. Outside, the first light of morning has reached the edge of the door. It spills across the floor like honey, slow and golden. The scribes continue their work. No one speaks loudly. No one rushes. Each gesture is deliberate. Each scroll is sacred. You walk now between shelves filled with years. There are records of grain, of eclipses, of royal dreams. You reach a scroll bound in dark linen. When you open it, you see a list of names, not kings, not generals, just people, fathers, mothers, servants, scribes, all now gone, but written, and so remembered. In the back of the room, there is a window without glass. It faces east. The light of dawn has reached the lip of the horizon. It enters the room silently, touches the scrolls, the ink, the stone. You stand in the beam of light. It warms your face. It fills your lungs. And for a moment, you feel written too, not in ink, but in memory. You bow your head, not in ritual, but in thanks. You walk softly back through the library, past the pens and the brushes, past the drying papyrus, past the rows of shelves heavy with silence, And as you exit, you carry something with you. Not a scroll, not a spell, but a calmness, a steadiness, a truth made gentle. The door closes behind you. The sound is light. The boat waits. The Nile is soft again. The stars have nearly vanished. But the dream is not over. You step aboard. The wood sighs beneath you. And once more, you drift on. The Nile has grown quiet. So quiet. You can no longer tell whether you are drifting upon it or dreaming it. Mist rises along the surface of the water, thick and pale, like a veil drawn slowly over the world. Your boat moves forward, but you feel no motion. The stars above are fading, and the ones inside you are beginning to shine. This is not a place you can point to on a map, not a city, not a temple, not even a time. This is the dream Egypt, the one behind the veil, the Egypt of the gods. They wait for you here, not as judgment, but as memory, not with voices, but with presence. You see no land now, only light and smoke, and something moving just beyond the edge of seeing. The first figure appears, not from above, but from the water. A man with the head of an ibis. He carries a scroll in one hand, in the other, a reed pen. This is Thoth, scribe of the gods, guardian of time, he who wrote the names of stars into the night sky. He does not speak. He simply opens the scroll and begins to write. You feel your name written there, not as sound, but as shape, as rhythm. A gentle line added to the great ledger of the dream. Another figure appears beside him. This one is wrapped in linen, face calm, arms crossed, green skin, the color of rebirth. This is Osiris, lord of the afterlife, king of the dead, but his gaze is soft, like that of a gardener tending a field of sleeping seeds. He places a hand over his heart, then gestures upward. The gesture is simple. You understand it. Let go. Around your boat, the mist parts slightly. You see flashes of light, not fire but memory. A child laughing near a river, a woman grinding herbs in a bowl, a priest lifting a torch, a scribal hand smoothing papyrus. Nothing grand, but everything real. These are fragments of lives long past, still echoing, still dreaming. Osiris watches them too. He nods, as though remembering each face. A feather drifts down now from somewhere above. It lands on your chest, weightless, cool. The mist shifts again, and a new presence rises into view. Ma'at. She wears the feather as a crown. Her eyes are wide, dark and steady. She stands not in judgment, but in balance. You know without words that she is weighing your heart, not to punish you, only to remind you. Have you spoken gently, listened closely, loved well? The feather rises again, not because you are perfect, but because you are enough. She vanishes like a shadow into the clouds. You lie back in the boat now. You feel the water through the wood. You feel the weight of your limbs dissolve into stillness. Your thoughts come slower, lighter. The wind begins to hum a low note. It is not music. It is the shape of time stretching across eternity. A golden circle forms in the mist, not burning, just glowing. Within it, a great falcon takes shape. Eyes sharp, wings vast, Rahman the sun itself. But now, he is not blinding. He is setting. This is the Ra of twilight, the one who sails into the underworld each night, to be reborn in morning. He hovers above you, then dips his wings in a slow circular arc. He is not gone, only resting, only cycling. He disappears into the haze. The gods do not ask anything of you. They do not demand prayers. They do not ask your name. They already know it, written in the stars, etched into the current, inscribed in the scroll somewhere beneath the water. You are not a visitor here. You are part of it. You always have been. The boat continues forward, slow, effortless. You are not rowing. You are not steering. You are only breathing, only drifting, only dreaming. Above, the sky has grown lighter, but not bright. A grey that carries lavender, a quiet that glows. The stars are nearly gone, but one remains, just above the horizon. Sirius, the star of Isis, the star that told the Egyptians the Nile would soon rise, the bringer of water, of life. You are lying in the boat once more. The Nile stretches in every direction, broad and glassy beneath the soft sky, reflecting only the faintest silver of dawn. You are not cold. You are not warm. You are simply still. The wooden deck beneath you creaks gently, its rhythm slower than the heartbeat of the earth. You let your arms rest by your sides. The movement of the boat is so soft now, you're no longer sure if you're drifting, or floating in place, or being carried through something else entirely. The palm trees at the river's edge stand like shadows of their daytime selves. Their reflections ripple in the water with every subtle push of current. You watch them move, not as trees, but as thoughts, calm, tall, rooted and weightless at once. The sky overhead has lightened to a soft pearl grey. The stars are nearly gone, but not forgotten. Sirius, the star of Isis, still lingers low on the horizon. The last to leave. You watch it shimmer, once, twice, and then it disappears. It is not a loss, just a shift. The night is not ending. It is only changing shape. The gods are no longer visible, but they have not left. You carry them in your chest now, their presence stored not in shrines, but in stillness. You close your eyes, not to sleep just yet, but to soften the world, to feel its edges grow round. You listen to the sound of the water, its slow hush hush, a sound without beginning or end, a sound that speaks of old things, of time before time. You feel the weight of your body now, a good weight, not heavy, not tired, just steady. Your shoulders loosen, your arms slacken, your breath eases without thought. There is no more need to remember where you've been. The temples, the gardens, the tombs, they are part of you now. They drift behind your eyelids like soft lanterns on a dark lake. You think of the gods once more, not as towering figures, but as echoes. Thoth with his reed pen, Maat with her feather, Osiris still and green, Ra setting and rising again and again, not watching you, but surrounding you, not judging, but keeping you company in the vast silence that holds all dreams. You lie very still. The boat moves slowly, turning slightly with the current. The horizon changes, but there is no destination, only continuation. You pass beneath a low branch. It brushes against the top of the canopy, making a sound like a sigh. You open your eyes again and see the water glimmering with faint morning colour. Blues and purples, rose gold and grey. You are moving through a painting, but it isn't being painted for you. It was always here. You've simply arrived inside it. A heron stands in the shallows, perfectly still, its long neck curved like an unfinished question. It watches you float past. Then it closes its eyes. You close yours too. You feel the presence of the wind. Not cold, not even air. Just a gentle suggestion across your cheek. It carries the breath of the desert, the mist of the Nile, and something more ancient still. You do not need to know where it goes. Only that it goes. Only that you go with it. Now, even the idea of time is softened. You cannot say how long you've been drifting. Only that it is enough. That this is the shape of rest. Long and slow and without corners. You are safe, held, part of the current. The story has already been told. There are no more pages to turn, no more doors to pass through. Only the silence at the end of a beautiful sentence. You let go, not of thought, not of self, but of resistance. There is nothing more to see, nothing more to carry. The past is behind you. The river flows forward. But you can stay here. You can float. You can breathe. You can rest. The stars are gone now. The sky is wide. Your eyes are closed. Your hands are still. The boat drifts slowly onward into a morning you may never fully see. And that's all right, because sleep is a kind of seeing too. And dreams, they remember everything. You have been drifting for some time now. The river has grown quiet. So quiet, in fact, you can no longer feel its current. It has become something else, not water, not even movement, only presence. You are not cold. You are not warm. You are simply still. Not as a stone is still, but as starlight is still, travelling through eternity without rushing. The boat beneath you does not rock. The air above you does not stir. You are surrounded by a vast, silent softness, not empty, but full of the space where meaning lingers after sound is gone. This is not Egypt as it was written, not the Egypt of stone or scroll, not the temples, not the tombs. You have passed through all that. You have moved beyond memory, beyond names, beyond time. You do not see land now, nor sky, only a silver haze, soft and cool, without direction. And within it, shapes, presences, not loud, not visible, but there. The first presence arrives, not with footsteps, but with gravity. A being of calm, of lines and ink and quiet truth. Thoth, lord of writing, scribe of the gods, approaches you not as a figure, but as a feeling. The sound of a pen moving across soft papyrus, the texture of meaning written without urgency. He carries a scroll, but it is closed. He does not record anything now. He simply watches, and in his gaze you feel remembered. Another figure appears, this one from below, a soft breath, a folded hush. Osiris, green and still, not stern, not proud, but gently rooted, as if planted in the field of sleep. He does not speak, but you feel the sensation of being accepted, fully, without proof, without explanation. He nods once, as though to say, yes, this is enough. And then the air grows lighter. A single feather floats down from above, not quickly, not spinning, just descending like a thought finding its way to rest. Ma'at stands before you. The feather rests above her brow. She does not weigh your heart. She does not hold scales, because here there is nothing left to balance. You are already in harmony. Your breath is aligned. Your silence is perfect. You have done enough. You are enough. She places the feather in your hand. It weighs nothing, but it feels eternal. You keep it. It is not a test. It is a gift. Now, there is no more path, no more river. You lie in a space without corners, without sound, without weight. The sky above is blank and infinite, but not empty. It watches without eyes. It holds without arms. It simply surrounds. You are not falling. You are not rising. You are only sinking inward toward a center that has no edge. Time no longer passes. It lingers, like a slow breath held between the heartbeats of the gods. Thoughts may come, but they do not stay. They pass through like birds crossing a still lake. They ripple the surface briefly, then vanish. You remain. You are not the water. You are not the bird. You are the silence. Far in the distance, you hear the faintest sound. A bell, a single note, or maybe your own breath, echoing softly in the chamber of rest. You're listening to yourself now, not your words, not your ideas, just your being, and it is beautiful. Ra passes overhead, but not as sun, not as fire, only as warmth, a suggestion of light without source or end. He does not speak, he does not shine, he simply exists, and his presence fills you like water fills a vessel, perfectly. No more, no less. You are whole, not because of what you've done, but because of what you are, a name written in light, a thought cradled in silence, a soul returning home. Even your name has faded now. You know you have one, but it is no longer necessary. You do not need to carry it here. Everything that mattered has already been remembered. Everything that hurt has already been forgiven. Everything you feared has softened into stillness. Now you are ready, not to wake, but to sleep in the deepest way, not as escape, not as forgetting, but as return. The dream has brought you this far. Now it opens its arms. You step inside. Or maybe you've already been here all along. There is no more boat, no more voice, no more distance, only softness, only breath, only sleep, and the dream beyond time. There is nothing left to see now. The journey has quieted. The gods have fallen silent. The river has returned to mist, and your name has become breath. You are lying beneath the stars, and they are watching you, not with eyes, but with memory. They remember you. They always have. The sky above is wide and steady, dark blue, almost black, not heavy, not empty. It holds the weight of history, but wears it lightly. You stare upward and feel it looking back. Each star overhead is a light left on by someone who once dreamed, someone who once lived, someone who once drifted across this same river and fell asleep beneath this same sky. You are not alone here. You are never alone. There is no sound but breath. Yours, the air's, the ancient, slow exhale of the world itself. You are lying on soft linen. The boat has disappeared. There is only stillness, and it welcomes you like a quiet temple with no doors. You do not need to know the time. You do not need to remember where you were. This is not a place of facts. It is not a place of names. It is a place of letting go. Let your thoughts fade now, each one like a leaf falling into deep water, slipping beneath the surface and vanishing without a sound. Let your breath carry you inward. Let your heart beat slow. Let your hands grow warm and still. You are resting now, not in a place but in a moment. And the moment is enough. It does not move. It does not change. It only holds you, softly, completely. The gods are not speaking, but they are here, not above you, not beside you, within you. Thoth's silence, Ma'at's balance, Osiris's stillness, Ra's warmth. They rest in your chest now. Their names hum gently behind your ribs. They are not asking, they are only staying. You see the Nile again, but not from above, not from a boat. You see it from within. The current does not push, it does not pull. It simply exists. It carries everything, and it carries you. Now the stars blink more slowly, their rhythm matching your own. Your eyes close, but the light remains. Software faint, timeless. You feel the weight of sleep rise up to meet you, not like sinking, but like being lifted, like being cradled in sky. There are no words left, no lines to read, no history to remember, only this hush, this warmth, this stillness, this sleep. Let go now, completely. There is nothing more to hold. You have walked with kings, drifted with gods. Listen to ink dry beneath the hands of memory. You have become silence. Now you may rest within it. Sleep beneath the stars. They will keep watch. They always have. And when you wake, they will still be there. silent, steady, shining, just like this dream.